So they'll be calling you a radical. This is an important historical video, like so many of my videos are. So I graduated here in 1996. That to this day, is the highest exit test of any business school exit testing in the history of the United States. BAs, there was only 17 of us, including Mikado, who was heir to the Japanese royal family, and his sister. I mean, it was an elite public school. Yeah, try getting through it. Oh, it was a beast. One guy, Clyde Cooley. So we're going to talk about the energy complex in Utah and the sham that's going on. So believe it or not, the climate lobby, they're in there on a Sunday. What? Nobody here on a Sunday. That union's never open on a Sunday. They don't open it for students. Why would they open it for those guys? Why would John Curtis speak there? John Curtis, he speak with forked tongue, and I caught it. I shot that video yesterday. Now, this is important. John Curtis is the guy who put together the bill. Well, he was the puppet. I mean, I tried to talk to him about nuclear. You see how defensive he was. And this is going to be a United States Senator, most likely. I mean, United States Senators don't act like that. You videotaping? Well, it just shows you how green he is. He doesn't know. And, I mean, any United States Senator, including Mike Lee or Mitt Romney, which I've talked to them, they know. They're ready. I mean, this guy's green as grass. That's why they used him as the puppet. I mean, he's a congressman, but United States Senator, I don't think he's senator material, but that's what they want. They want these puppets. So this is important because that branch of the Utah political wing in the late 90s came up with this brilliant idea. Now, I want people to very much understand who owns Utah Power and Light. So Utah Power and Light announced yesterday that they're extending the life of the coal plants. What? Who owns Utah Power and Light? Warren Buffett. Now, this will tie. There used to be a picture on the wall of me and Warren Buffett. Now, this is important. It's a historic video. Hope we don't run out of time. My camera. We won't. So, everybody's eyes are on this school. The world's eyes are on this school. They're like, what the hell? Because the exit testing was transparent in those days. Not like, same with, there was no JSTOR in the, 80s and 90s. They're like, look at this. There's a public institution that is beating Wharton, that is beating Harvard, that is beating Yale, that is beating Princeton. The top business schools in the year via the testing every single year for 9 consecutive years. What? Weber State? Where's that? Of course, we had the great basketball teams, huh? Jimmy DeGraffeney went to this school. He was on that 95 team, probably the best team in the history of the school. 95. Ask Allen Iverson. So, stay with me. This is a historic, important video. You got to get this. So, the world's eyes are on us. So, of all people, we don't have an MBA program here. That Utah State has the contract that we can't have one. Well, a guy named Clyde Cooley, the #1 finance professor in the country, bar none, University of Chicago guy, chemist, who switched to finance. He ran this show. This was his baby. I have the last letter of recommendation he ever wrote. It's up there in the vicious. I think there was 140-something of us started out as BAs in that program, and 17 of us graduated in that class. So, of all people, Warren Buffett rolls in here. What? Warren Buffett. Bill Childs owned R.C. Willey's, the furniture outlet. He sold to Warren Buffett. So Warren Buffett rolls in here and to this school and says he's going to donate yellow shares. You know what a yellow share, Berkshire Hathaway, not Class B, not even Class A. A yellow means you have to have at least 100 shares. So he's going to donate multiple shares to this. Why? I'm like, what are you talking about? So Clyde Cooley politicked to get an MBA program here in the United States. And they're like, well, got to give it to them. I mean, they're number one school business in the country, 9 consecutive years. Beating Wharton, beating Harvard, beating Yale. By the way, Elon Musk was at Wharton. Wharton was our sister school. We'd go back there, they'd come back here. Did Trump go to Wharton? Yep. So, but that was way back. Stay with me. E.O. Wattis. Who's he? Oh, the CEO of General Electric. Utah Construction merged with General Electric. Oh, I'm starting to connect some dots. Why, of all people, would Warren Buffett roll in here? Clyde Cooley would have no part of it. None. He would have absolutely no part of it. Pop, pop. Oh, up he dropped. They never stopped. He's like, oh, hell no. Out of order? Oh, it's out of order. How do you go from the number one school business in the country to under investigation by the FBI and rank basically dead last? Oh, they did it. Out of order? You think? You think? They even tore the lab out of there. So, it's unbelievable what they did. They took the paintings off the walls. The picture that there used to be a picture in there of all people, Bill Gates and Warren Buffett with the old dean and myself playing golf on the invitation of Warren Buffett. I mean, he was doing everything he could to take this school. Why? Because it was the number one school in the business, or in the country, bar none. But that's an arguable fact. I knew what they were up to. Clyde Cooley would have none of it. Descending down staircase. Talk about a descent. How do you go from number one to under investigation? The FBI. Oh, they did it. So, I'm like, what are they up to? I'm like, no. So, Bill Childs has a Learjet. He said, well, let's take students back to the Berkshire Hathaway in Omaha. So I would go on his Learjet with Bill, and we'd go along. We got to go to the Yellow meeting. I don't know if you've ever been to the Berkshire Hathaway shareholder meeting. It's a major event in the Pines. Where did you sleep last night? It's a major event. And I mean a major event. But you don't just get to go to the Yellow Party unless you have, it's for the elites of the elites. We got to go. So, I'm arguing with Bill Childs because all of a sudden out of nowhere, the Utah State Legislature, which Brad Wilson's running for Senate, so is John Curtis. These are the group. We were Hamiltonians here. We spot protectionism. We were pro-terrorist big time. That was an old lefty thing, right? And the whole fight in the 90s was about protectionism versus globalization. Clyde Cooley was an anti-globalization thing, and not just because of the economics, and so that because of the morality. He used to do a famous lecture about the morality of it. Really? And he would go off about usury. And he was old school, but beyond a genius. Vicious. The bell tokens. So, what did you sleep last night? I call it the Wattis curse. So these Utah State legislators, they're going around, they want this school for supply chain. Clyde Cooley's, we're a famous finance and economics school. Really famous finance school, Clyde Cooley. We would come out of here, anybody think that we went to Wall Street. I was a derivative options arbitrage guy. Who even knows what that is? I taught the arbitrage class right there in that corner room, right there. When 9/11 happened, I was teaching that class. I'll back up a little bit. So we finally get an MBA program. I'm on Wall Street. I've got my plastering business, whatever. I'm jet setting. I'm all over, Young. Have the last letter of mention that Dr. Cooley ever wrote. So I want to come home and, I want to still do my work, but it's in the 90s. I graduated in 96 the second time. I started here in 1976 as an honor student. They had a contest, and I had the highest scores in the country on this new test in sixth grade, where it would basically be sound, and there was a new style of testing, and a counselor got a hold of me in the ninth grade. She said, you know, you have the highest test in the country. I don't care. I'm not interested. He's like, well, but these universities were interested. Caltech, Berkeley, blah, blah, blah. They're recruiting. I was the young artist. I drew the yearbooks, the phone books at Walquist Junior High. And so I go into the program in 10th grade at Weaver High. I hated it because the old Weaver High got tore down. They're making us go clear up another corrupt building in North Ogden. An hour and a half bus ride for a kid like me is ridiculous. I couldn't stand it. It was pitiful. You know, and I'm in these honors programs up there. Thomas More was the English. What? Why would Thomas More? Yeah. He lives in Mayor Eccles' house. Yeah, he's married into the Eccles fortune. Why would he? Yeah, good question. And so May Blanche is my auntie in the English department. I mean, she lived right behind me. You know, what a genius. Bob McCabe Brody's friend. So I was too young, way too young, to be in a progressive school like this in 1976. You know, so I mean, I was all over the place, but mentally, this is the 70s in Ogden, Utah. San Francisco had nothing on us. I mean, nothing. I mean, whoa. So I left, you know. My grandfather's Abraham Hunsaker IV. He's like the famous line, that famous line. The people that found the Golden Setter's Mill. That's my grandfather. He called himself the Great Mormon Socialist. He didn't believe in inherent wealth. Really did not believe in it. What a story his is. He's married to Ella, Ike Potter's freaking last living grandchild. Yeah, that Ike. Yeah. I like how they name a road after a mass murder. Porter Road. Excuse me. Yeah, Porter Road. Ooh, ooh, ooh. So, that's who killed Ike. COVID. My auntie used to say, Kevin, I believe in reincarnation. I really think you're Ike. I don't even say that when I was young. Jack was like, you know, he spoke all 5 tribes fluent. Could be, probably was the first whitey in this area. Jim Bridger gets credit for that, floating down the Bear 200 years ago right now. But anyway, so stay with me. This is an important historic video. So they give us an MBA program. It's announced. Utah State Legislature announced it's in 1998. You know, I got my 98 shirt on. Oh boy. Yeah. I was sitting right across when Jordan knocked down that shot. So, it's all downhill from there, right? Metallica played on the football field in 98 here in a lightning storm. Rain, everybody left. Went out to their trailers, everybody left. They came back. 4 o'clock in the afternoon. That was like the capitulation, right? That's summer of 98. So, we get the MBA here. Clyde Clute's going to have an MBA program. That's how I got my job on Wall Street. It was him. No interview, no nothing. They come in and says, well, who do you hire? He told me, you know, you're hired. I hedge portfolio. It's real simple. Took high dividend yield stock, just rolled puts underneath it. It's very quite cool. Kevin, he was grooming me and posturing me to take over this program. And I was willing to do it. I wanted to do it. The connections with Weaver State meant a lot to me since I was a child. In 99, I was with President Thompson in Basketball Metaphors Matter. I was in Seattle when Weaver State knocked over North Carolina. I was up there at the Florida game when they should have won. They lost in overtime, which was a fluke. I had breakfast with Paul Thompson that morning. You're really not going to fire a bacon. You got to. His hands were good. So, got missed free throw. I really think they were a Final Four team. Same in 95. He's like, Kevin, we're going to become the Ivy League of public universities as it's going to become. We already are. What are you talking about? We're the number one biology school. I'm doing biology background. You know, I'm the honors guy. You know, fine arts, biology, finance. That's a combination. So we're already the number one. We're the number one school business in the United States. We're the number one nursing school in the United States. We're one of the number one engineering schools in the United States. We're one of the number one biology schools in the United States. Unarguable. We're already there. Not going to be, could be, might be, we are. That's why Buffett was in here. Now, I want people to understand Warren Buffett owns Utah Power and Light. I'll tag that. I don't think people know that dirtbag owns it. He's 93 years old. He's a dirtbag. So, how did the picture get on the wall here? So, I would teach the derivative ARB class right there. That corner room. Lab, I'd come in this door up there. So my boss on Wall Street, you know, and I own Blanche Wall Street still, had a lot of money. Wouldn't change it for anything. By the way, this plaster work on the ceilings and the lids, that's all me. So when I'm going to college, I have a sidewalk pass. I drive my Blanche plastering truck right on the sidewalk. I remember my French professor, Dr. Godfrey, says, I don't believe you. You're in my French class, and I walk outside, you're up on a scaffold plastering the ceilings. Yeah, that's me. I can walk and chew gum at the same time. So I call here, you know, I come up here, the secretary who I'm friends with, who lives by me in West Weaver, I'm like, let me know if anybody registers for this MBA with the letter A. Is there any, because it's going to be alphabetical, of course. BL, my last name Blanche, that's how they do it. No, you're the first one registered. Nobody's jumped me because I want that first MBA. So, now remember, the fight is on here. In epic proportions, they want this school. Utah's legislator, a professor named Lee moves in here. He's an IT. You know, I was very suspicious of him. Now, you could look it up. There's a professor that was here. I think she still is. When the Dalai Lama came here, she made international headlines forbidding Utah state legislators to visit the Dalai Lama. So, look it up. It's true. It's all true. It's an incredible story. So, John Curtis speaks there right there yesterday. You can see when I interviewed him, he didn't have a clue about nuclear. What is nuclear? Yeah, think I'm in the belly of the beast. All this money that's here, including the only football stadium named after a woman, that's that money. The merger of Utah Construction and General Electric, the biggest merger in American history. The nuclear industry. Quite cool, Kevin. You keep going after the nuclear industry so viciously like you do, they're going to come after you. They're going to blackball you. What are you telling me? They're Masonics around here? I says, I know. You know, Wattis is a 33-degree Mason. You don't think I grew up here? I knew. I restored the 1905 Masonic Temple. Look it up. Hand chiseled it. That Masonic symbol that's in the front, I chiseled that in there back in there that was originally there. I know they're all Masons. I know that. They will blackball you. I think I already have been. I got a lot of money. I'm sure they voted. You know, that's where the term blackball comes. All right, I'm just telling you. You know, someday you'll probably run this program. Yeah, that would be good. Oh, they go after me. So Buffett, we fly back to the Berkshire Hathaway. I mean, you know, this is 2000, 1999, 10,000. I'll back up a little bit. So I'm going to get that first MBA. So I walk in here, first class, first morning, first day of. We had quarters then. We weren't semesters. I walk in. There's a guy named Kyle Madsen. I have no clue who this dude is. This is Clyde Cooley's class. I'm like, listen to him babble. And I could see that he didn't even know what he was talking about. He didn't have a clue. You know, and this is an advanced MBA derivative ARB class. It was the early class. It was the options trading. It was the hedging class. He didn't even know what an option was or everything. So I went and talked to him after. I said, "Where's Clyde? Haven't you heard?" Heard what? 2 weeks ago, right before the NBA started, he started something attacked his brain. It was a virus, which I guess was probably mad cow. I don't know. A lot of people say it's mad cow because he lived in Bountiful, which the medical incinerator is there, seriously. And so I don't know, but I was like, that can't be. He's like, this is supposed to be the river arbor. He says, I don't even know what an option is. I've just thrown to this. I've just told 2 weeks ago, I'm here teaching this. He had no clue, rhyme or reason. So the next few days, me and him would talk and visit. And he's like, well, you were his protege. You are his protege. You got to help me teach this class. You got to help me teach this program. I says, I don't have an MBA. I don't have an MBA. And he's like, well, it don't matter. We'll make a deal with you. What deal? We'll give you the first MBA. You know, we'll waive tuition. We'll waive a lot of things. We'll do this. We'll do that. We'll, give you money. We'll give you perks. We'll let you. We've talked to your boss. We'll let you do your work on your Wall Street job out of the lab right here. I talked. What's his name? Cooper's son. His dad was in there. He says, God, all we did. When I graduated here in 99, they said all we did was trade options in freaking Wattis lab. I says, yeah, I'm the guy. He says, oh boy, you taught us all. And so I taught that class. Now 9/11 happens. Well, let's back up a little bit for you. Dr. Cooley gets mad cow in his brain in the fall quarter of 99. Out of nowhere, ate him up. He was dead by November. Well, all these muck-mucks around here that wanted to go along with this sellout to the Utah Economic Development freaking team, which was John Curtis's right-wing party, and that branch, which now they're against it. The left has become the right has become the left. So, as you see him talk to me yesterday, he has no clue about nuclear energy, none. So, I would have none. Kyle Madsen, he's born and raised in Ogden, but he was teaching at the University of Syracuse. So I ran the program. Kyle Madsen gets cancer, lung cancer. I don't know, not smoking. But we'd go back to the Burkhart shareholder meeting. So we'd go to the Yellow, and I had plenty of money. I was a Wall Street guy, very unimpressed by this family. Of course, the students and Madsen, I'm very unimpressed. I grew up with these type of people. I'm on Wall Street. I dealt with these freaking people all the time. They don't impress me. I remember people say, "Oh, well, we're going to get Buffett's autograph." I'm going to ask Buffett if he wants my fucking autograph. I never liked the guy then. That's what he was up to here. I told Bill that. And so me and Bill had lots of cordial conversations about this. I said, it's usually you're a very religious person, restoring the pathway. We'd go onto the trails, to Council Bluffs, all of it. What about usury? What about, and he just blew that off. So we walked through in 99, 2000, we're at the party with students, and he was having a bad year because he would buy the .com stocks. And everybody's giving him shit. So I walked through the line. He's got an entourage with him. Looked like an NFL offensive line. His security. That's always with him. And we get to walk through the line, shake his hand. Woo, fucking woo. And so I walked through and I says, I didn't call him Mr. Buffett. I'm like, Buffett. I was kind of snippy about it. I don't know if I was arrogant then or his confidence. I says, you know what I say about you having a slump this year? He was all pissy about it. What does that mean? I knew he liked baseball, so did I. I says, even Babe Ruth had slumps. And so I walked through the line, turn around, there's Kyle right there, and he says, hey, he's waving you back, Kev. Look. They're all pointing and looking. He's like, come here. So he had his photographers line up, put his arm around, because that comment made him happy. He took these pictures. What he fucking do? And so then I told him, I says, well, you know what? If you're Warren, if you're Babe Ruth, I'm Ty Cobb. And he laughed, and so anyway, he hung on the wall right there. Then the other picture with Alma, and I'm standing right there, Bill Gates and Buffett playing golf right here at Mount. Yeah. Like them dirtbags. So I fought with them. No, they're not getting to school. This fight went on. This fight got intense in 2000, 2001, 2002 around here. They blackballed me like no other. These fading ghost sheep that went along with this, I run into once in a while, you know. I ran into Mike Vaughn. He was the dean here then, but he moved on. I talked to him, and he said, well, you know, he was old. I said, he was 69 years old. How old are you? I'm 69. He was at the pharmacy. You think that's old? It was a virus that attacked his brain. You think that's a coincidence? I don't. I used to tell Lee, what'd you put in his tea? You know, I was kind of joking about it. You look at the pictures. They're right there. He's standing there. AP, the national investigation points right to here. And to guys like John Curtis. And to, you know, Brad Wilson's at least apologized. You know, that's who I'll be voting for. I'm going to talk to Brad. I know him from one of his construction days, because I own Blanche Glasery too. But I won't be voting for John Curtis. I know that because why? He's a pro-nuker. So he speaks yesterday there, and he says that we got to let the free market. The free market, because Warren Buffett is, Utah Power and Light is owned by Warren Buffett. They've come out and says we're going to extend the life of the 2 coal plants here. Now, it's a no-brainer here. It's a no-brainer here. It's solar, sun. This is not an argument between coal and nuclear, which they're one and the same. They're lobbies. This is if you could, it's simple. I mean, I'm the old due diligence here. I did the due diligence on the nuclear reactors. This is the Utah Construction built these reactors all over the world. You know, it's all about money and pork. I mean, made this place so filthy, stinking rich on that merger. It's a no-brainer. Solar. The sun shines here 300 days a year. California, well, remember when Nevada 10 years ago had net metering, unlimited, where you could sell back into the grid unlimited? People were making $4,000, $5,000, $6,000, residential homes, selling back into the grid. Oh, we can't have that. So a legislator from here went down to freaking the armpit in Nevada and changed it. Well, it's unfair. So that's what the UPNL, they regurgitate this narrative, because I interviewed the UPNL at the basketball game, I talked to him, and he regurgitates the spokesman. Well, nuclear's got to be a part of this clean. What are you talking about? So he's over there, John Curtis, saying, well, you got to have, the owner has, it's got to be part of the equation. And then I asked him, I said, well, you know, we funded NuScale for 13 years. We got 0.0 back. They've come out and said that. You can tell he doesn't have a clue. He's just a puppet. They're all regurgitating this Warren Buffett narrative that's shoved in there. Warren Buffett owns the freaking Utah Power Line. Who owns the coal plants in southern Utah? Warren Buffett. Who owns the Kemmer, Wyoming old fired plant that they want to turn into terraform a little nuclears? Oh, Warren Buffett. Who, his buddy, wants to build there? Bill Gates. Now remember, the operating system was invented here by his grandfather, or his grandson. I knew David O. McKay personally. I knew Fawn personally. Alan Ashton is his grandson. Bruce Bashan and Alan at BYU at the band. They were in the band. They invented the operating system. Remember, Bill Gates stole it in '95. Fair and Triangle stole it. He never invented anything. Where'd he get all that money? I remember right here. Remember we had to learn all that shit? You know, oh my God. We're perfect. I mean, I had it down to a fine science. I've been using it for years. They had 99% of the freaking Mars. Shift F-13. Remember Nobel? Motley Fool, the first insider that was leaking all that stuff, he was going to school here. I mean, this is such an elite program and such an elite school. So, why would Utah Power and Light come out and say we're extending the life of these coal plants? Oh, because the NuScale thing. So we got amps through the Utah State Legislature clear back 20 years ago for our wind and solar. NuScale rides into town and hijacks. There was a big fat fund full of money, and they saw it. And these legislators went along with it. This is all about money. NuScale never had it. They're only one that has a license, and the licensor was corrupt because she used to be a professor. You know, she became head of the NRC, and she worked with Reyes. The Reyes, not Sean. I've talked to Sean about this at the Bear. Jose Reyes, they worked at Idaho National Lab, which we place a lot of students at that place. It's a sham. They worked together. That's how they got it through by one vote. Now, the NRC hasn't his bill John Curtis puts through is to fast track the interstate. And I told John Curtis after I turned off the counter, he walked over and I says, hey, you do know that your fast track bill is going to do 0.0. That's not true. I says, yes, it is. They don't exist. Oh, they're on a sub. A submarine barely can freaking power a submarine. And talk to a sailor. The lights are off all the time there because they don't have enough energy, and they use diesel freaking generators. So Lee gives that thing. He's right here. So it's a historic, important video. So why would they extend? The answer is easy. So if you could net meter solar here in Utah, 300 a day, and they charge you $16,000. There's a $16,000 fee to Utah Power and Light to go solar. Why? Oh, well, we got to pay for our grid and maintain our grid, which is total bullshit. They never built that fucking grid. The United States taxpayer built that grid. Mayor Eccles got that money through and built the grid. It's simple. You, in the Mojave, in Utah, in Arizona, in all these places, solar can be at Times Square at the speed of light. We have a grid. Why are they blocking this? Because they're puppets, and this has become a political hot potato. The political soup can has become right-left issue. Solar's a lefty thing. How did that happen? What are you talking about, it's a lefty thing? Solar's a lefty thing. What? What are you talking about? Solar's a lefty thing. But that's what it's turned in politically. So these guys in right-leaning states, pop, oh, oppie dropped, have started to ban solar and wind, including in Utah. So they're going to refire up the coal plants. Well, they're already firing, and extend it. We're going to do better at carbon capture. No, they're not. You know, that's the Olympic downhill right there. Remember there was supposed to be a tram come through here. That's what the greenwashing bus says. I was on that committee. I was all for it. So Warren Buffett has hijacked our school, but stole it. So they're the last now. How do you go from Warren? And they blackballed me. They went after me. So what I was doing in 2009 on my YouTube site, I was just polishing up some IT skills. I'm like, I'm going to teach. You know, here was gone. The fight was over here. So I taught it till 2005. Kyle Madsen died. So did his wife right after. She got lung cancer. But they used to teach at University of Syracuse. You know how contaminated University of Syracuse is. G, again, G. Yes, that G. There's the old CEO. The merger of General Electric and Utah Construction. The nuclear energy merger. Oh boy. The greatest Ponzi scheme, ask Jack Welch. Reverse split. I mean, talk about it. And CNBC, which was owned by G. Propaganda, Joe Kernan, Maria Bartiromo, all those people propagandized and ripped so many people off, so much money. Remember, I was on Wall Street in those days. So, they gutted our school. It's under investigation by the FBI. They went after me viciously, illegally, did all kinds of shit to me. Never did keep their promises to me on my... Now, I talked to the president of the university. I'm like, they owe me the first MBA, but I'm not sure I want it. I mean, the school then, you know, my BA from 96, yeah, because it's the #1 school business in the history of... I used to tell Clyde, you must throw my score out. No, Kev. So, it's been a hell of a journey. So why would he be in there saying we need the free market to set this? The most opposite of the free market is nuclear energy. Then he turned around and tells me that nuclear... He's the guy who sponsored the bill to fast track through more SMR nuclear. Well, that's not the problem. I told him the problem is not red tape on nuclear energy in the NRC. They don't fucking exist. There's no such thing. Including NuScale, we funded it for 13 fucking years, and I'm the only one fighting it. And they threw their hands up and said, we don't have it. You know, he does that interview sitting right here. You know, well, he's got his hands up, Lee. I saw the black SUVs over here. I knew what was going on. I knew it. I'm like, oh boy. So glad I wasn't involved with them. I bolted a long time ago in 2005. And then I thought, well, I'll teach. I want to teach. I'll go to Europe. I'm going to teach in Vienna. I love Austria because they're anti-nukers, and they like me out there at the UN. And, I'm a walking, talking encyclopedia on nuclear energy, probably the most foremost expert on the face of the planet. Fukushima, Fukushima, Fukushima. Well, even long before that, I don't eat, sleep, drinking. But what happened? I was polishing up my IT skills, so I started my YouTube channel, my stuckodamage.com, whatever. I was just messing around, and then I started to evolve, as the activist. And then Fukushima happened 2 weeks. I was leading up to help out on what became Occupy. 2 weeks before the 100th anniversary of the shirtwaist fire, we were leading up to do a big event on labor right and non-globalization and Chinese slave-made goods for the shirtwaist fire. March 25th, 2011. But 2 weeks before that, something happened on the way to that place. They threw a nuclear American flag in my face. Fukushima happened, and I knew that was the mother of all of it. I knew all social inequality, all imperialism, that was it. It was the biggest event in human history. I knew it because I did the due diligence in here on these reactors. I knew when I saw that. I'm like, oh, fuck. Got a live cam. I've been predicting it for years. In my class, I taught the derivative arbitrage class in there when they arrested the Saudi kids on this campus. Part of them were in my class. Go talk to Chris at the Stewart Library. She's getting ready to retire this month. She still has the sticker of the FBI come in. That morning they were there. We had kids at the towers that day. But Baxter knew enough to get them out. He was smart. He worked out there and he got them out of it. Thank God. So it's a hell of a story. But it's all true. And Warren Buffett took our school. He owns our school. Lock, stock, and public school. Yeah, he owns it. And these people that went along with it should be fucking ashamed of themselves. I was right. And so they blackballed me. Literally. The Sonic School? Oh, I knew that. Come on. Waters was a 33-degree Mason. It's named the water school business. Clyde Cooley, what happened to him? Just coincidence? I don't think so. But, so they owe me that first. Well, they owe me a lot of money. They owe me a lot. But I'm polishing up my IT skills. And, of course, my social inequality movement, Fukushima. So I started using it at Fukushima. Then, boom, the freight train hit me. The water's curse. I got AML leukemia in the fall of 2011. Right before I'm getting ready, I'm trading the markets. I'm telling everybody, sell your gold, sell your silver, go all in Tesla. At 30,000 shares of Tesla stock at the IPO. That's where. Play back the tape. In the classrooms, I'm saying buy Apple, buy all the Apple you can get, buy Apple cylinder valve, Apple Tesla. Play back the tape, Your Honor, in 2010, 2011. Every day I'm doing those. I did that. I had well over $1 million. That would be worth hundreds of millions of dollars today. But I was uninsured. They could have paid for it here. They could have wrote me in. They didn't. I went to LDSE State Bone Marrow Transplant. Was given 2 months to live on 11. You cannot make it up. For whom the bell tolls. Drop your dry gas container. I am the world's foremost expert on nuclear energy. What he said to me and the way he treated me there yesterday, and I took the high road. Good luck, buddy. So I told him, I was cordial to him. He's going to be a United States Senator. He doesn't know how to handle somebody that comes up and asks him a very cordial conversation with a camera in his face. Well, you better get used to it, fool, because that's how the real world works. You're not United States Senator material. Sorry, John Curtis, not. I'll be voting for Brad Wilson. And I'm going to be talking to Brad about this. He's got a lot of background with me, but this isn't a left-right issue. You're blocking solar and wind all over the country for political. What the fuck? What kind of? That's Joseph Google's shit. It's fucking nuts. If we were allowed to sell solar back into the grid here in Utah, there would be dog houses with solar panels, garages, boats, chicken coops. They would have their kids out there with freaking solar panels strapped on their freaking back running around the yard. These people will do anything for money in this state, including sponsor bills. He says right there in his speech that the free market has to set the energy complex. And then he says we need nuclear. The absolute opposite of free market. Nuclear has sucked up more pork than any industry in the history of mankind by billions and trillions of fucking times. There's nothing more pork. Everything on this university is named after this pork. I mean, it's made so many people so fucking rich, and what has it done? It's stole opportunity cost. You do know what opportunity cost is. There's no argument anymore. Solar. The Western United States with our giant desert, they don't have a desert there. We're overconsumption freaks. We consume 54% of the world's product. We make up less than 4% of the world's population. In 1980, we were considered starting to get there as consumption. We had jumped from 6 to 12% in just a couple of years in the early 80s from consumption. In the 70s, we're consuming the same amount of product that we population in symphony. 4% of the world's population, we're consuming 4% of the world's, but we had heavy tariffs all over everything. Now, Trump talks a lot of tariffs, but that's all he does is talk. Did he put tariffs on his Bangladesh-made suits? Tariffs on his wife's-made shoes? Hell no, because he speaks with forked tongue, just like John Curtis speaks with forked tongue. Free market tariff? He's not Senate material. I'm sorry, but he's not. At least Mike Lee and Mitt Romney can actually have a cordial conversation with you. You know, they can lie to you in a very subtle way, but at least they're not all. I mean, this guy, he's not Senate material. And so, Warren Buffett owns Utah Power and Light. You do know that. And they're going to extend the coal plants? What a spit in our face. What a spit in fucking guy like me. You know, my cancer, you know. I fight them and I'll still get you. And all the funding that I get, maybe you go give Tim Ballard some money in Utah. Buffett stole that school of business, the number one school of business in the United States. Warren Buffett stole it. Barron Triangle. He's a dirtbag. And I've told people that for years. So is Gates. Why would we be getting in bed with them? 93 years old, still trying to make money. That's a sicko. That's a real sick puppy. I knew he was a sick puppy back then. So, Utah's refired up their coal plants and extended the lights when all we have to have is the sun here. Huh. Fukushima. One word for you nukers. Next time somebody, you know, he told me, the UPNL spokesman here at the basketball game, I said, what about Fukushima? And he says, well, that was an old reactor. I said, what are you talking about, old reactor? It's a Mach 1, Mach 2. We have hundreds of, I had 104. We have 76 of them here now. Kevin Blanchard friends shut them all down. We'll continue. And, you know, there's a renaissance in nuclear. Yeah, pork and propaganda. Yeah, it's snowing. I'm not kidding. April 7th. So, Warren Buffett owns Utah Power and Light, and Warren Buffett loves coal. Of course he does. It's hard to make money off solar. That's what this is all about. It's hard to make money off solar. Popo-oppie dropped. They never stopped. The Manhattan Project on Balco. What? The Enola Gay hangers here? Utah? Popo-oppie dropped. They never stopped. That's Mount Ogden. That's the Olympic downhill right there. Popo-oppie dropped. They never stopped. Popo-oppie dropped. They never stopped. Popo-oppie dropped. Which came first, the nuclear chicken or the nuclear egg? Which came first, the nuclear chicken or the nuclear egg? The water's cursed. Everybody gets cancer in here. Popo-oppie dropped. They never stopped. Don't you cross that parallel and turn North Korea into hell. Why not Vietnam to kill the Viet Cong? We're done with war. Then the gift that keeps on living. I was teaching the derivative arb class, Kyle Matson, to Kevin Blanch for years. Kevin, you know they bought puts on the airline stocks? I said, yeah, the CIA interviewed me. So did the FBI. I'm the guy that exposed that they bought puts. I knew we had them. Too big to jail. They were Saudis. The Saudi kids were in my class. He says, do you think that you are the one that taught them how? Like I very well could have, but I don't know. I taught that class here. We're the number one school business in the United States. What did I get for it? Did I call it or did I call it? Oh, I called it. All I ever wanted was my peace of mind. It's disgraceful. It's absolutely disgraceful. So, pop, oh, up, he dropped. It's a long video. It's an important video. Never stopped. So, Warren Buffett owns this school. Go from first to last. You don't think that's what they were up to? Mission accomplished. It's disgraceful. Look it up. Under investigation by the FBI. How's that even possible? By the way, John Goddard was a great guy. He never went to college. I know him good. I love that guy. In fact, I used to do all his plaster work. Really good guy. Great guy. You know, the Western Mortgage on 40th and Harrison there? It's his building. I did all the plaster work for him. I really liked that guy a lot. Yeah, Western Mortgage, that was him. So, he donated money to this school too, but not like Buffett. Oh boy, is it out of fucking order. Oh, place is out of fucking order. San Antonio.